Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam, I'm non-gamer.
We are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Tomten by Fervent Workshops.
Tomten is a game that is coming to crowdfunding here in the very near future, so make sure to check out the link down below in the description of this video to check out the campaign page to get all the details on this game. Now, if you're not familiar with the word Tomten, Tomten is a Swedish Christmas gnome. This is a game that revolves around Swedish tradition involving a Swedish gnome named Tomten, who helps out with Christmas preparations, putting together toys and that sort of thing. This is a game in which you and up to 4 players are going to be working either together or against one another, trying to complete as many tasks as you can before the calendar gets to Christmas or the end of the year. This is one of those games in which whoever is furthest back on the time track is going to be taking turns, and so this is one of those games where you want to manage your time effectively throughout the course of the game. Let's go down to the table where I'll show you how this one works, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have Tomten on the table. Let me show you all about this Swedish Christmas game. Now, what you see here is not prototype. This is the final product. So this is what you'll be receiving if you back this game. You do have a central board that is going to have a time track on it, which is this calendar that you see here that has the month of December as well as the first half of January with some major holidays printed on it. Around the outside of that is going to be the score track. Now, players are each going to have a time tracker piece and a score tracker piece. You do have lots of dice in this game. As you can see, there are several dice, and then you have lots of cards. And these cards are going to represent different tasks that you are, as Tomten, the Swedish Christmas gnome, are trying to complete in order to prepare for Christmas as you get closer and closer to Christmas. Now, in the advanced variant of the game, you do have different clans that you can be. Each player will have a clan, and you get to choose either between starting with a clan that has a special ability, or you can start with extra cards that already are in your supply in front of you. And I'll come back to why that's important, what these different cards are going to give you throughout the course of the game. You do also have special player aid cards, and so you've got some for the basic rules and some for the advanced rules. Now, how this game is going to work in the basic mode as well as the advanced, but let's go over the basic rules just first. On your turn, it's very simple. You will be taking one of 2 possibilities, and one of those actions is to take one of your dice. You start the game with 4 dice. You would not roll them on the calendar here, but you would roll them in front of you. I'm just doing this so that we save space on the table. And using one or multiple of your dice, you're going to complete one and only one task on any of the 4 cards that are over here on the side. So taking a look at what we have right here, this card calls for a 5, a 6, or 11. Now you can put one or any multiples of dice that add up to these numbers, these exact numbers, 5, 6, or 11. So taking a look at my dice, I could put this 5 right here on this option, I could put this 6 right here on this option, or I could combine both of these to make 11 to put on this bottom option. Whatever I end up doing, let's say I put 5 and 6 together here, this number in the circle represents how much time it's going to cost to do that task, and the number in the star represents how many points I get for having completed that task. And so, having done this bottom one, I would advance 3 spaces on the calendar track and 5 spaces on the score track. Like so, and that would be the end of my turn. You can only do 1 task per turn. Now this card is going to stay over here, and other players could complete some of the tasks that are on it. It would be the next player's turn, which is going to be whoever's furthest back on this calendar track, and as you can see, we've got a stack right here, and anytime you have players that are stacked up, it's going to be whoever's on top. So yellow is going to be the next player, and let's say that maybe they end up putting a 5 right here on this top track, and they advanced 1 and 1, on the score track like so. And then let's say the green player is going to go next, and they end up putting a 6 right here on this middle spot because 5 is completed, 11 is completed, and this is the last one. Whenever a player completes the last task on a card, not only do they get the points, but they also get to take the card and set it in front of them. And that's important because certain cards are going to give you actions or points that you can use. They may also give you certain tags, and those tags are important because of the clan variant in the advanced mode of the game, as different tags are going to award you different points or different special things throughout the course of the game. So you'll want to pay attention to these different tags if you're playing in the advanced mode. Now, to give you an example here, this particular card is going to give you 1 point anytime somebody stacks their disc on top of yours on the calendar. So if the yellow player went right on top of blue, well, blue would get an extra point because they have this card. Whereas this card right here is going to let you flip over a die, turning it to its opposite side because of this red action right here. This 3 would become a 4, or a 5 would become a 2, or a 1 would become a 6. I think you guys get the idea on that. Now, when you do use these abilities, you do have to tap the card, twisting it in front of you, and you don't get to reuse it again until you take the second type of action on your turn, which is to rest. As you can see, you're going to be dwindling down in your dice as you use them to complete these different tasks over here. So a second type of thing you might do on your turn is to rest. You will have to advance 1 space on the calendar to do that, and then you will earn 4 dice to add to whatever dice you have left over. Now, you can never go over 7, but then you get to re-roll all your dice, and that's it for your turn. On your next turn, however, you have a lot more dice to work with that would help you with completing some tasks over here. Some other things that you can earn on these cards. This card right here that has the bow with the 2 means that every time you get to one of these major holidays, the 3 that are printed on the board, you're going to earn 2 extra points for every one of these type of cards that you have in front of you. Whereas the one that has the star on it, the shooting star, it's going to only activate at the very end of the game, St. Nuts Day here. You'll earn 3 points for every one of these cards. Now, this special card right here is also going to earn you an extra die every time you rest. So instead of getting 4 dice when you rest, you'll earn 5 dice. So that's how these cards work. Now, when a player gets to a Sunday on the calendar, they'll earn an extra die that they're going to roll into their supply, and then they can use that on their next turn. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. Players continue playing until everybody gets to St. Nuts Day. When you get to St. Nuts Day, your game is over. Other players get to continue to go until they get here. And again, as I mentioned earlier, some of the clans are going to give you extra points for the different tags that you've garnered throughout the course of the game. Otherwise, you'll just get points for, again, the ones that award points at the end of the game, and you'll see who has the most points, and that person is going to be the winner. Now, you can play this game in cooperative mode, where you're trying to get to a certain number of points collectively, working to accomplish these tasks before you get to the end of the calendar. If you get to that certain goal, then you win the game, and if you don't, then you all lose. You can also play this game in teams where you are playing 2 versus 2, working together to try to complete tasks and using your dice, and pretty much the same idea for the game, but you are working in partnership with your partner. That's pretty much the gist of this one, so let's go back up top and share our thoughts on Tomten. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Tomten from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, this is another game from Fervent Workshop that we are privileged to be able to get to put out videos for. Has some similarities to some of the other stuff that they've done with that time track, as in, you know, doing actions and you're working along that track and you want to kind of don't want to advance too far on that track because you want to try to get in as many actions as you can before the end of the game. This one's got dice in it though, and you're doing dice placement. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. It was pretty easy to understand right off the bat, like what the goals were. I think the actual strategy took a little bit longer, but it was an easy enough game to understand how to play.
Yeah, this is a game that has both basic and advanced mode, and so if you are trying this out with a younger player or somebody who's maybe not played very many games, you can do the basic mode where you don't have any of the clan abilities and you don't really use any of the icons on the cards. You're just doing that basic mechanic of putting dice on cards, trying to earn cards, trying to get points, trying to, again, slowly advance on the calendar. You don't want to fly down the calendar. But then you've got that advanced mode where you can start using the icons on the cards, doing extra actions like re-rolling dice, flipping dice, getting extra points if you've collected cards when you get to major holidays. So that's a good addition to kind of spice up the game. We did play the advanced mode. Did you feel like that was too advanced for you?
No, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I did too. I think this is one that, you might try out that basic mode with, younger players or people who've never played games before, like I said, but you want to quickly graduate to the advanced mode, I feel like. This also has team mode where you and another player can play against 2 other players. So you can play up to 4 and it be sort of cooperative with that other partner. Or you can play cooperatively where you're all working together to try to get to so many points before the end of the calendar. Again, trying to advance slowly on that calendar. What do you think about that concept of the game? And that you're not just wanting to try to get maximum points, but you're also wanting to try to prolong the game as long as you can for yourself.
I think that I put more emphasis on getting like the third dice on the card and getting that card, but I actually don't think that that's the most important. I think using the strategy of how many spaces do I want to move to get the extra dice to stay behind the person so that I can have the go first next time, I think would actually have benefited me more.
Yeah, I agree. There's definite times in which you want the card, but then maybe it doesn't benefit you the most because it moves you too many spaces down the calendar, like you're saying. And you want to maybe take multiple turns in a row so that you could possibly not only get the points, but also earn a card maybe in there in that because you filled up that one slot. The easiest one to fill up, but it doesn't reward you hardly with anything. And there are times, too, when it's like, why would I want to use a 4, which is a pretty good die, for only 1 point?
Yeah.
And, you want to time that out right, where it only advances you 1 space, and you earn the card for it.
Yeah.
There's times when that does make sense to do, even though on the surface it looks like a bad move.
Yeah.
An interesting game, and I think the fun thing about it is the tableau building of when you earn these cards, it gives you special benefits that gives you an idea of what other cards you want to try to earn and advance your strategy throughout the course of the game.
Yeah.
Was that fun for you, trying to figure that out as far as you earning cards and using the different abilities?
Yeah, I don't think I think I really thought that I was just going to get points by getting cards. And so I wasn't necessarily, I did try to vary the type of cards that I got, but I don't think I did a very good job in using them. I lost, in case that's not very clear.
But you lost by like 1 point. It was a very close game.
It's just one of those games where you end it and you're like, or you're halfway through and you're like, I don't feel like I'm playing this well. And then you kind of change up your strategy, but you really have to just play it again to try over.
Yeah. It's an interesting game. It's a fun little mechanic here. There's not a whole lot to the teach on this one. I think it's a 5-minute teach, and I think you can try a lot of different strategies throughout the course of the game and have a lot of fun with it. So it's an interesting theme as well. We're not very familiar with Tomten or Swedish Christmas tradition, so this is a lot of fun for us to kind of unpack
into our Christmas board games,
for sure,
which we're slowly gathering.
Yeah. But the game is Tomten. It is from Fervent Workshop. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this particular game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.